Hey guys, just wanted to take a second and give you kind of a rundown of some of the things you might need to know for Somersault Camp coming up in a couple weeks. If you were at the parent meeting as a first time camp parent or camper, that's really cool. You got a lot of this information. This may help remind you of some of the things you may have forgotten. If you were at that meeting, though, and hopefully if you're watching this, if you were at that meeting and you came up to me afterwards with some special instructions for your student, and I asked you to email me to make sure that you were able to contact me and I was able to deal with some of those things, would you do me a favor if you haven't done that yet? And please do that, because I don't want to forget some of our conversations after that meeting, which are so important. So go online and email me, remind me of your name and the situation that you talked about, either with first time students who are just trying to get connected and you want to make some good connections there. But if you would just email me if you came up after me, and because I could be wrong, I think many of you I told just go ahead and email me that information so I wouldn't forget it. And so if you haven't heard back from me, it's probably because I maybe lost your email in mix, or maybe we just forgot to shoot an email. So shoot me an email. But with that said, I am so excited that your student is going to be going to camp. One of the things that we talk about here at Tribe and in student ministry here at First Baptist is camp tends to be almost a whole semester of weekly attendance at church. I mean, basically at camp, there are 30 times that there's so many times your students is around the Word in an intense time in a week. And the time that what's happening during that week is the equivalent of almost 6 to 7 months of regular church attendance on Sundays or Wednesdays or both. And so camp's pretty intensive and pretty incredible for students during that time. And so we want to ask you to be praying for us. But we want to look at some of the things that you might have questions about. And so we want to just I'm going to try some stuff with the computer, so bear with me. And so what I want us to look at first is you received or will receive one of these right here. It's the Tribe Parent Pack, and I have a digital copy, so when you get there you'll actually see it looks like this. This little Parent Pack copy here has a bunch of information that you're going to want to look at. If you were at the meeting, you saw this as well. So we're just going to breeze through some of it, and I'm going to make some quick comments, and hopefully this video won't take too long, but I want you to have some information and hopefully answer some questions for you. As you notice, our check-in time is Monday the 17th at 9 a.m. Parents, do us a favor. If you could, please don't come before that unless you're a leader of some kind and you can bring your students then. But parents, please don't come and check in before 9, because we have a lot of setup we want to try to do for your student and for you during that time. So 9 o'clock, if you roll in at 9, that's fine. That's not the time we're leaving. That's just the time you're checking in. We will leave later than 9 o'clock. All right. And so please make sure, parents, that you check in with your student. It won't take long if you've got all the information filled out. By the way, I just want to thank you for getting your information filled out quickly. Deanna Cortez, our assistant, worked really hard to get you that information and stay in touch with you. And thank you for being faithful with that. That helps us out tremendously. And so with that said, I want you to look, if you would, back at this. So parents, check in with your students and make sure they have breakfast. Make sure they have breakfast before they come. Eat it before they come. That'd be great. And number 2, make sure they bring a bag lunch, and they need to bring it in the room with them. As soon as they get here to check in, somebody will take their luggage. And by the way, we're going to talk about your luggage. 1 suitcase to hold everything. They're allowed to bring in their backpack, but 1 suitcase holds everything. Please put the pillow in there. Do that as well. That would be fantastic. That would help us pack. 1 suitcase holds everything for camp. That includes sleeping bag, toiletries, all that stuff. 1 big suitcase. Did I mention 1 big suitcase? So help us out with that, if you would. Students, please eat breakfast before and have a sack lunch or some kind of bag lunch that they can eat on the way. We'll make a quick stop on the way to Charleston before we get there. Have a time to eat that lunch, but make sure they bring it with them. Don't pack it in their suitcase, because once that suitcase is packed in the luggage truck, we won't get back into that until we're at camp. If your student has medication, you will notice that for medication cards, you can complete a card. We just like to know what kind of medication our students that are going to camp is taking. If your student can manage their own medication, which we hope is the case, we want you to make sure they know about that, but also that their leaders know about what kind of medication they have, because we want to make sure and remind your students to check it if we need to. But if there are some students who need some adult supervision of that, in some minor cases that's needed, please let us know. We'll try to make accommodations to that as much as possible. Rooming situations, your students will find out about their roommate situation when we get to camp. They'll find out about teams and stuff in the next few days from their leaders. But as far as rooming assignments, those they will see when they get there to camp. We do our best, and when I say our best, we do our best to make sure that they get at least the person they requested for their room. All right, and trying to make that happen. There will be opportunities, and you can help us with this. They will have opportunities to meet new people. They will have opportunities to be around folks that they may have just seen from a distance in our midweek or on Sunday mornings, but this gives them an opportunity as well to get and branch out and meet other folks as well. So please know that. You will also find out right there, Spirit Days and teams, your leaders, our leaders, are going to be calling and contacting through email, possibly through phone calls. They're going to be calling you to let you know what your team color is, what your team name is, what their name is, and how to get you information about their contact, cell numbers, etc. And if you ask them a question that they don't know the answer to, they're going to ask you to get in touch with us, and we'll be glad to answer those as much as possible. A big thing that's important for us at camp, if this was your first time, if you've been with us at camp for a couple of years, you know what's coming. There are no electronic devices at camp, no cell phones, no iPads, etc. So if your student wants to pack a digital camera that's not connected to the internet or social media, that's fine, so they can take pictures. But we ask your student to leave the cell phones home, leave the iPads home. They need to bring a Bible and a notebook, but that's it. This allows our students to connect with each other at camp instead of trying to connect virtually with other folks that aren't here. Now, you might be wondering, how can my student get in touch with me if they need to get in touch with me? Our adult leaders have cell phones. Your student should never be in a place at camp where they can't get in touch with an adult leader who will have access to get in touch with you if needed, all right? And so that's really important that you know that. Please make sure your student doesn't bring their cell phone. If for some reason we find a cell phone that's been smuggled in, what we do is we confiscate that. We may give you a call, let you know, and we'll give it back to you when we get back home on Friday. Does that make sense? Some students, some leaders and some parents ask, how much money should we send with our student? Your student practically doesn't need to bring any money with them. All the food's there for the week. All the stuff they need is right there. But if they're wanting to buy extra things like camp swag, t-shirts, hats, things from the bookstore, those are going to be like bookstore concert prices. $15 for a t-shirt, $20 for a hat, $45 for a sweatshirt. If you want to give your students money for them to buy something, that's up to you. There's also on campus, other than the cafeteria, there's places you can buy like Snack Shack food, not like hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, milkshakes, and those are concession stand prices. I mean, I think somebody said a milkshake was about like $5. And so if you want to kind of navigate that, you can send cash with your students. I think most of the places also receive like those little Visa cards type things. They can bring those as well. And so that would be phenomenal if you would just make sure your student knows they have to keep up with their money. And so that's really important for you to communicate with them. We don't take the money and then give it to them. They keep up with their money as much as possible. You'll see a theme here. We ask that you use this opportunity as an opportunity for them to be responsible for some of the things that they need to be responsible, their own money, their own medication, etc. Does that make sense? All right. Now we're going to return the 21st of Friday. 21st is the Friday of June. I'm sorry. We're going to return Friday, the 21st of June, sometime between 4 and 5 p.m. But you need to make sure and get text alerts. Right down here, you'll see fbcit.org/middle school. You can sign up for text alerts if you haven't done that. If you don't get text alerts from us, we're going to be text alerting the next few days anyway. So you need to make sure and get our text alerts, because that's how we communicate with you about arrival times, that we've actually we arrived at camp, etc. Another way to stay in touch with us during camp is a way to keep in touch and see your students is to make sure and check out our Instagram page. We post, every leader posts pictures of their group every day to our Instagram page. Basically, this is the time of the year where our Instagram page is blowed up with pictures of camp. And so if you keep following the Tribe Instagram, I think it's somewhere on the website. It might even be somewhere imprinted. If you need to know that, holler at us. We'll try to get that to you. I should know that, but I don't keep up with it. But I know those pictures are posted. So you can keep up with us on Instagram as well. Now, that's a lot of stuff on the first page. Those of you who have done this before, you know there's a couple of things that we need to let you know about what to bring. Bag lunch for the ride up to camp. Make sure you bring it on the bus with you. If you want to bring a backpack, that's cool. When your student arrives at 9 o'clock on Monday, all right, here's some of the things they can understand. They're going to give their luggage to the luggage truck person. They're going to come check in. They're going to find their team area, meet their team leader. They're going to get all of their stuff, a drawstring bag. There's some goodies in that drawstring bag. One of the goodies you need to know about, so you don't need to worry about bringing it unless you just want to, we're giving every student a watch, because one of the things we realized is that when they don't have a cell phone, some of them will wonder, well, how can I tell time? We're going to give them a watch that they can set. It's a little digital watch, a little cheap watch that they can keep for the camp so they can keep up with the times for camp. And so we want them to have that. So they'll get all that stuff. They'll get all that stuff situated. And when we get there, once everybody is checked in, we're going to do kind of an information meeting for the students just to kind of give them what we expect. And if anything goes crazy and they're like, I don't want to go, they can call you and take them home. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But that gives them some information. They should, if you understand watching this video, if you'll communicate to them some of the guidelines, some of the things, so on Monday there would be no surprises about what camp's all about and what we expect of them when it comes to camp. Does that make sense? And so by the way, you'll find out I say, does that make sense, a lot. You can say yes to the video screen if you want, or you can just say, move it along. That's fine. All right, so let's look back at what we got here. What to bring: a bag lunch, one suitcase that holds everything. You'll also notice that because we're there at Charleston Southern, which we'll try to see a map in just a second, they need to bring all their bedding, all their toiletry items, etc. They need to bring comfortable clothes, closed-toed shoes, please, because some of our activities are going to be pretty intense, and they'll need some closed-toed shoes, modest one-piece bathing suits for the ladies, or tankinis that are modest, because if they get a chance to swim in the pool, we ask that they have a modest bathing suit ready to go for that. Sunscreen, Bible, pen, refillable water bottle. Your student is going to be hounded. And when I say hounded, about drinking lots and lots of water. So they need to have their own water bottle with them this year. All right. And they need to do spirit, basically items for Spirit Day. What not to bring, you'll see a whole list of that. One of the things: no cell phones, no alcohol, tobacco, no weapons of any kind, no pocket knives, no knives, things like that, fireworks, valuable items, really valuable items. We ask them to leave at home because there's such chaos that happens in rooms. Sometimes stuff gets destroyed, sometimes stuff gets gone, and we don't want that to be the case. And so additional money for offering, snack shack, spending while on Wednesday, merchandise table, etc. Flashlight, hats, all of that stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Spirit Days. What are Spirit Days? Does that make Spirit Days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. These are days that your student will dress and participate in the morning as a team. Tuesdays are Hawaiian Shirt Day. Every person that participates in Hawaiian shirts gets points for their team. And that happens in the morning time. So basically from breakfast until lunch, we ask your students that want to participate in those to help their team out to participate during the morning time. So we're literally the group walking around in the morning with Hawaiian shirts on Tuesdays. It's pretty epic. Wednesday is team color, so they can dress up in anything their team color has. Also on Wednesdays, we have our field day activity after lunch, and they will load up with, they can paint their face. It's basically Tribe Tickle Me Tim games. We'll talk about that a little bit. Tickle Me Tim games in the afternoon. They'll compete against each other. They can be all colored up. That'd be awesome. And that's Wednesday. And Thursday is Tribe Swag and Socks and Sandals Day. Tribe Swag is Tribe t-shirts, Tribe hats, things that they buy here on midweek. If they don't have Tribe Swag, then Socks and Sandals it up, and that helps them get their team some points as well. And if they have crazy socks, that even helps more. All right? Does that make sense? Now, with that said, I'm going to zoom past the the schedule, which you'll see there, we're going to look at some guidelines real quick that you need to know about. We expect your student to participate in everything at camp. Everything at camp means morning all the way till evening. We are very unlikely to allow your student to bow out of anything for camp unless it's an emergency. And so please help them understand that. If they get tired, if they get hot, then we basically find a way for them to participate by sitting around it and cooling down. But they don't get to go hang out in their room. By the way, there is no hanging out in the rooms at camp with us. Bible, notebook, other materials during sessions. Please make sure your student packs a Bible and a notebook and a pen for our camp. The whole purpose of camp is to get our students in the Word, and so we want them to have a copy of God's Word to do that. You'll notice the proper dress, what they can wear and what they can't wear. You'll also find out that our room situations, our guys are usually in one whole building, girls are in a whole different building, and we'll talk about that when we look at the campus map. You'll see what not to bring. I already talked about that. You'll see that we are going to uphold a lights out policy at 11:30. That's so important for the students. We're going to ask them to make sure and be lights out, going to sleep at 11:30 as much as possible. Our leaders are going to instruct them in that way as well. So also one policy that you need to know about is every day at camp, we have a no energy drink, no caffeine policy after 7 p.m. So after dinner, so during dinner they can do that, but after dinner there is no more energy drinks bought at camp after 7 p.m. That helps us to kind of help our students be in the right frame of mind to go to sleep. And so if you could remind your students of that, we remind them. And we just, like I said, we expect your students to participate and also to be responsible to pay attention to these guidelines that are there to help them. You know that. In the rooms and places like that, students are not allowed to have roughhouse, water balloon fights, that kind of stuff. And of course, nobody can leave the grounds without permission, but I'm not going to give permission to students to leave the grounds, but they're not allowed to leave the designated area. Number 9 is an important one. We expect our students not to ever have fun at someone else's expenses. If somebody is not enjoying the fun you're having, it's no fun. And so they're to stop. And so we ask students to watch that. If there's situations where that gets out of hand, we need to know, and we'll deal with it. You'll see skateboard and scooters not allowed. Electronic devices, no energy drinks and stuff after 7 p.m. Please follow the instructions of the adult leaders. Your students are going to get a bunch of instructions from adults during camp. Please help them to understand that every adult that's going to camp loves Jesus, loves them, wants them to have the best time at camp. And so the best way to do that is to follow their instructions to a T, as quick as possible. All right. We like to say this: slow obedience is disobedience. So don't be slow to obey and listen to a leader when they give you instructions. All right. Everything from, hey, you might need to go change clothes. You might need to put something else on. I need for you to sit here. Hey, I need for you to move. All of that stuff. When an adult leader talks and asks you to do something, just do it as quick as you can. And we like to say this with the words, no problem. No problem. All right. And so what we also look at, number 16, this is important, parents, if you're checking this out. If a student continuously disobeys and disregards our boundaries and our guidelines, you will know about it. But if you have to get more than 1 or 2 calls about them not falling in line, one of the calls will be for you to come pick them up from camp that day, either that morning or that night. Your job will be to come pick them up. And so please understand that. It is our goal that if this were to happen in the most extreme scenario, you will not be surprised when you have to come pick them up. So please make sure your students understand that. It's important. It's important for us to make sure your student stays at camp. So we're going to do everything we can do to help them do that. But if some students don't want to follow our guidelines and be a part of camp and they continue to disrupt, our job is to make sure and protect students. And so with that, if that was the case, then we will see them Wednesday or Sunday morning back when we get back to church. All right. So just to let you know that. You'll notice there Somersault and some of the phone numbers that are emergency contact phone numbers. Put those in your phones if you need to contact us. You'll see during church hours, Miss Deanna Cortez. She's the greatest. You need to make sure and thank her every chance you get. Send her some Starbucks gift cards and I don't know, whatever else you send cool people. If you would do that, you'll also notice that you can be on our website at somersault.org. You can see what's going on at camp at our Somersault site there. And there we go. You'll also, when our adult leaders or your students' leaders call you or contact you, you'll get the leaders' numbers as well. And so we want you to make sure and have that. All right, now I'm going to come out of this page. Let me see how I do this. Thank you for your patience here as I try to connect. That's not what I want to do. Done. Disregard changes. Now, here we are. All right, so let's look at a schedule that you need to know about real quick. All right, here we go. Here's a schedule that your student will see when they get to camp. Notice the check-in time. When we get to camp, your students get off the buses. They get to go into their rooms and check into their rooms. They get to meet. You will notice that your students will have rally points. They will have rally points or areas that your students will meet each day before we go into a big group. All right, you'll notice dinner times. You'll also notice in yellow, we have designated times that your students can count on their rooms being unlocked. Your students don't get keys or access fobs to hallways of our hallway. If they have access, it will be an adult leader in the rooms. And the adult leader will open the rooms for a certain amount of time. Your student will get everything they need. We'll talk about that, and then they're out. So there is no hanging out in rooms by our students without a leader being present. Bible study times, you'll see there on that first day. You'll see what happens during the day on Mondays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll notice what the schedule looks like. Please encourage your students to eat breakfast. They'll have this schedule with them. This way you get to see it, see what times rooms are open. You'll also notice on Tuesday evening, we're going to do something special with the rising ninth graders. So if you're a rising ninth grade parent, Tuesday evening, you can expect that we're going to do something special with them because we really are thankful that they're at camp. And usually it involves sugar and ice cream and much more than that. So that's Tuesday afternoon. But that's Tuesday and Thursday schedule. It's pretty much the same. You'll see that. Look through that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or ask me. Also, we'll be sending this out to everyone as well. The Wednesday schedule, you'll see breakfast. Wednesday's a little bit different because Wednesday at camp, there is afternoon Tickle Me Tim games, and you will see that right there at 1:30, and then after that is free time. Tickle Me Tim games is just chaos. It's what it is. All of our teams get together and they compete against each other in all kinds of water balloon fights, mega relays to earn points for their team and just to have a great time. All right, and so you can see that in the schedule. Please remember if you go through this with your student, rally points are important, times we open the rooms, etc. And then Friday, you will see what happens. We will eat lunch on campus at Charleston Southern Friday afternoon before coming home, and then we send a text alert to let you guys know when we're heading home. Does that make sense? I wanted you to see this lanyard that your student's going to receive. Miss Deanna did a good job of putting that together. All right, let's look at Charleston Southern University. I like this map. This is actually on the website of Charleston Southern. It's a virtual tour map. When we arrive at Charleston Southern, you'll notice this road right here takes them in. We turn the corner, and we drop students off in this area right here. All right, because usually our dorm rooms are one of these two areas here. So let's click on this area right here, the dorm room. It's Women's South, but it may be where the guys are for camp. A typical room kind of looks like, let's see if I can find a typical, that's a lounge. Typical room, nope, that's not what it looks like. Back. Yep, typical room kind of looks like that. but without all the decorations, because these are girls' rooms. Girls decorate more than boys. So let's see what. I think over here is another option to see some rooms, Russell East, but they have the same setup. And so that's what the dorm rooms look like. They're a hallway of dorms, and each dorm room, there's 2 dorm rooms connected by a bathroom, and that makes what we call a suite. And so each room at camp will have 3 students in it, or 3 people. Our leaders are spread throughout the rooms as well. And so team leaders will usually be in the same area of rooms as their teams. So just to let you know that. But that is usually where they will sleep. So we unload in the parking lot and we go to our rooms wherever Summersalt has designated for us to go. Now, our rally point, we usually gather down here and we walk to our rally point on that first day. This is the chapel where all the big group stuff happens, is the chapel right here. The chapel looks something like that. It's a big auditorium for students. That's what it looks like. And so just to let you see that. Our rally point, though, is right here on that grassy area. Does that make sense? Right in front of the library. Right on that grassy area is our rally point every day. And so you can see where they will be during the rally points. Also, the classrooms that students break into Bible studies are all over the campus. In this area, over here in these classrooms, students during the day are in Bible studies with Summersalt leaders, and they are spread out all over the campus in that square right there, okay, in that little region right there. This area right here is the cafeteria. There is, and by the way, the best food at camp, the best food of camp we've ever had is at Charleston Southern. Pretty much everything they want to eat is there in buffet style for them: hamburgers, salad bars, etc. Soft serve ice cream, which, by the way, is just straight from heaven. That is the cafeteria. And if you look at that spot right there, when I went to school in the 80s and early 90s, that's where I met my soon-to-be wife, right there in that section of that cafeteria. Didn't look like that then, but just side note, just in case you wanted to know that. All right, so let me move this back out. Oh, there it is. So that's the cafeteria. Now, all of that to say, that's Charleston Southern University. We will have most of our activities take place in that region. Our sleeping area, of course, is over here in this region. There's some activities. The pool is over here. Like I said, it's a small pool. Very few opportunities for them to swim, but when they can feel free to do that during the course of a day if they can. A lot of activity takes place in the rec center. They don't have many pictures there, but that's what that is. Maybe it's in this picture. Let's see. Boom. Yes. Rec center, opportunities, guitars. Nope, that's not that. I don't know what we're looking. Okay. Yep. But in this building is also things like ping pong tables. There's actually a gym in there, and I'm surprised there's not more information with it. Did that change on me? Let me look. That's interesting. Oh, no. I was wrong. Is this it? Yes, this is it. This is the Brewer Center. This is the activity center for students. They don't get to lift weights. That's just crazy. The pool, all kinds of games they can play. Just tons of opportunities for them to get involved in. If there's free time, that area is available for students to participate. The pool and the rec fields in the back. Now, sorry for that confusion. Just wanted to take you on that little tour. Hopefully that helps. You can pull up Charleston Southern and look around the campus. You'll also notice that right here in this area, to the bottom right corner, that is Trident Medical Center. For those of you who may have issues of what happens in case of emergency, there's a hospital right across the street. And so just to let you know that. All right. So with that said, there's a lot of information for you thrown at you in quick manner, and I hope you enjoy that. One of the things that we love about Summersalt is their emphasis on the Word of God. Their emphasis on worshiping God, hearing from God, experiencing God, being called by God, all centered from the Word of God. And so your students will be around the teaching of God's Word by godly adults and also by godly college students each day of the week. And so we're going to ask for you to be in prayer for them as they are preparing their heart, their mind, and everything for what God has in store for them. It's going to be a great week. We're going to ask them they're going to be challenged in the Word. They're going to be challenged relationally. Many of them are going to be exhausted because, some of them, they don't like to sleep when they go to camp. So there's going to be opportunities to grow in relationships in tough situations. But there's also just great excitement and fun to be had at camp. And so just be praying that the Lord would allow them to embrace and see and experience everything He has in store for them. And also pray that the Lord would protect them from the tricks and the schemes of the enemy that would be used to distract them from hearing God's voice. But I need you to know this. God's going to communicate with your student and to your student this week, and God can't be stopped. And so our hope for you is that you be in prayer for them, and you be ready to ask them and listen to what God has done and is doing after camp. I'm sure there are 1,000 other things I should have said or brought up in this video, but with that said, I just wanted to give you some quick information, whether you're a veteran or whether you're a newbie. And if you're new, thank you for trusting your student to be a part of Summer Salt and Tribe Camp with us. We love middle school students, and we love to see the Lord. We love to see the Lord impact their lives for eternity. And we thank you that you give us an opportunity to be a part of that. So with that said, we hope to see you Monday, the 17th at 9 a.m. For a kickoff to a great week. And so with that said, we'll talk to you soon.